Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I'm Cheyenne Nicole, and this is my channel. I am so scared to make this video. I'm smiling and I'm laughing, but it's to keep from crying and wanting to vomit. But it is also one that I have wanted to express, but I have not been able to find the words to. So I really appreciate this question. And the question asks, how did I realize that I was a fearful avoidant? Because a lot of people don't ever realize that. To answer this question, I need to go back to last year, October. I was going through really high stress, one of the hardest experiences that I've ever had with my baby being sick. We were in the hospital, it was October. There was so many other things that were just equally as horrible going on. Having a fearful attachment, a disorganized, anxious, avoidant attachment, means that you have a split in your consciousness. And so I was absolutely drowning. I was drowning last year, October. I was indulging in very self-destructive, self-sabotaging behaviors in order to avoid the fear of what was going on with my baby, what was going on in my life, just a lot of really crappy things. And in doing so, I did reach out. I think that this is something that will be really beneficial for other people's awareness. So that is why I'm going to share this and do so as carefully as I can, just to respect everybody involved in the situation. Also, I'm being vulnerable in a way that I haven't been or expressed these things. So be patient with me. So I reached out and to someone. I was essentially, like I said, drowning. I was in a state of avoidance, trying to avoid all of the conflicts and struggles that I was dealing with. And I was just wanting to feel like I wasn't drowning anymore. And I, now having the awareness that I have now, feel very guilty, very ashamed. It's kind of how I came at this person. I think that they handled it exceptionally well. Essentially, I was drowning, and I was reached out in hopes of avoiding what I was going through, and I did so in such an anxious manner. If you can imagine a person drowning, an anxious person does not care about their own well-being, in a sense, because they are just reaching out for connection. They're just reaching out. Imagine just reaching out for a life raft. And I did so, and I was very abrasive and anxious. In the past, I had like crushes where I would like fantasize and I would make up things in my head, and it could go on for a long time to help me feel better, like even in like elementary school and high school. And I now have the awareness to see that that's what I was doing. I didn't even speak to these people that I had crushes on. They didn't even know who I was. Just thinking about them and, writing their names in my notebooks and stuff was a way of me avoiding my really dysfunctional home. I think that it started kind of like that, like me just, again, reaching out for connection. So I wasn't coming out of a loving or secure place. I was coming out of a very anxious place, and the connection in itself did make it feel like I was okay in a time that I was very not okay. But the more it progressed, the more I actually liked them, and I didn't really plan on that. I'm not sure what happened, but I wasn't coming from a secure place, and I think that maybe they pulled back, recognizing that, or maybe just had their own life, had nothing to do with me, right? But it caused me to bring my anxious butt elsewhere, and to seek to understand myself better. And I started finally doing the work, which somebody messaged me. I will be making a video in the future about having to deal with breakups and self-worth and things like that. I will make that video. I haven't got to all of my comments. I just really wanted to address this one. I started going on this seeking knowledge exploration, and in the beginning of the year, somebody had on one of the lives, I think it was R2D2, brought up attachment styles, and I didn't really take it to heart at that moment, but it was a few weeks later it started showing up on my feed, and then so I started to research it, and I wasn't looking at myself. I was looking at all the interactions that I was having. The more I searched to understand other people, I realized I was learning about myself, and I was like, that sounds kind of like me. So I took the little test on Adam Lane Smith's website for attachment styles, and I was met with this reality, and it spoke. Like, we know ourselves. You know yourself. This isn't new. These terms are all new. This information is new to me. But I have journals from my childhood through my teen years, through my adult years, tracking this cycle of anxiousness and avoidance. And you can see me saying, like, it's like I'm a different person every other day, and I'm avoiding myself. And that's when I do the worst. That's when I'm at my worst, is when I'm avoiding coming back to myself. So I have not apologized for the way I acted or handled that person, but the knowledge that I gained about myself and how I connect with people is something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. And when that, when there was that pullback, it did cause me to be more anxious and feel like, oh, it's me. It's like I'm being rejected and things. And it wasn't personal. It wasn't about me. It could have been about me. Maybe maybe I was ill. Maybe I gave the ick. I don't know. Anyways, it's irrelevant, because I was then oscillating between anxious and avoidant at that point. I was anxious, and then I was looking for reasons to detach. And that was completely unfair. And again, not a secure way of being. It was a very insecure way of being. And anytime I came to this meeting with myself, I was like, we got to detach. And I was looking for reasons to detach, and I was looking for evidence to detach. And that's so unfair to treat people in either of these manners, to reach out when you're drowning or to be looking for reasons to detach completely. All the evidence that I had was like, this person's a really dope person. They're a dope individual, regardless of what the connection is, where it's going, if it's going anywhere. Like, I would value this person in my life in the long term. And so I just pumped my brakes and did the self-seeking thought that came to my mind, in that time, like at the beginning of this year, is, God forbid I meet the one and this is where I'm at. God forbid I handle my future husband in this manner and miss the greatest love of my life. This is ending up a lot longer, and I hope it's not coming out messed up. I'm feeling very fearful right now. Yeah, God forbid I handle any other person in that manner. It helped me to look inward at myself and do this seeking to understand. And I feel like, although I did not apologize directly for my actions, I've just done my best to be loving, caring, and kind in all of my connections. I still am avoidant in sometimes, and I am still anxious, and sometimes more so with like my children, my dad and my siblings. This chart kind of helps and helped me with a little bit of the understanding. These are the 4 different attachment styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, and fearful. It's really hard. You can't love somebody out of their attachment style. I think that you can become more secure, but I think that I'll always have this attachment style. And I think that it'll just take whoever I do eventually be with to understand who I am and how I am. And that's not knowledge to share with every single person on the planet. You know, I'm not here to be understood by the world. And I don't need validation or attention or, you know, to be seen by everybody. And I also don't want to avoid the world and connections and great opportunities because I'm scared to connect. I want to connect in a secure, loving manner. So that's what I'm working towards. And it was a me decision. I had to come to that decision on my own, and it is a really hard, rocky road to be traveling. My heart goes out to you, being there for your friend, just being patient. Patience is not pressure. Pressuring someone is not secure behavior. It's not loving behavior. It's anxious, you know, avoiding someone because maybe they aren't how you like them, or you just, whatever, that's not secure behavior. So it just really comes down to, do you want to be secure? Are you willing to do the work to reflect and evaluate yourself and work on grounding exercises? And I didn't even know what regulation was until like this year, really diving deep into it. But the way that the attachment styles are formed are in childhood. A secure attachment is characterized by having positive babies. A secure attachment had positive models of others and positive models of self. That means that they have low avoidance, low anxiety. An avoidant has had positive models of self, but negative models of others. So they are characterized by low anxiety, but high avoidance. Anxious individuals have had positive models of others, but negative models of self. So they have the high anxiety, low avoidance. All right, hold on. I'm gonna make it through this video. Fearful, avoidance, disorganized attachments, had negative models of self and negative models of others. So they have high anxiety, high avoidance. You might need to sit with this, maybe take a look or a picture or save this so you can come back to it. And I think what's really important, like I said, you cannot make anybody want to change, and it's not a secure behavior to want people to change. Can you want people to understand themselves better? Yes, that would be loving, but you can't shove this down their throat. This isn't going to be something that they, you know, they might avoid you, or you might make them anxious and feel like they're drowning, like, or both, or both. And that's not loving behavior. So I think you can just learn how your interactions are affecting them, and you can love them accordingly. But it's also, I don't believe, a secure behavior to assume, oh, this person's anxious, oh, this person's avoidant, oh, this person's fearful. I don't think that assuming things about people is a very loving behavior. Just do the self work, look at yourself. And I think that there's been so many times in my life where I deemed people as safe people just because of my ability to connect with them and to be able to meet them where I am. and to not feel, and meet them where they are as well, and to not feel like we are trying to change each other at all. We're just walking this life together. And you're constantly feeling like anxious towards an individual, that's something for you to take a step back and ask yourself, like, why am I feeling like this? What am I trying to give that I could be giving to myself? Why am I feeling anxious in this connection? Is this a connection that I can handle? Can I not handle it? If I can't handle this, that's for you to become strong enough to walk away from whatever connection is causing you so much distress. If you're feeling avoidant, like you need to detach or you need to avoid something, like that's for you to take a moment to actually sit with your emotions and ask yourself, what am I feeling in this moment? How am I feeling? If you feel like the connection is worth moving more towards a secure place, then you can share those emotions, and if you're received, great. If not, then that tells you, hey, this probably isn't either a good connection for you to be making, or this person is also in an insecure state and they're just not ready. They're just not ready. And you wouldn't ask a baby, to be great at catching, because you'd understand that they don't have that awareness. They don't have that skill just yet. And we're all adults walking around this earth, but we still are like little babies. And I think that that's what really felt just so different in that connection. I felt like my inner child just wanted to play with their inner child. And maybe got a little wild and crazy. You don't know where people are. A lot of people, like you said, they don't ever even realize that they're like that. They don't know where they are. So if you value the connection that you are striving to become more secure with, it's just going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take you learning about yourself, learning about how you interacting with them affects them. And if you think that you can't handle it, that's for you to decide, I can't do this. And don't punish that person for their inability. Anyways, I love you guys. I am thinking about doing a video on wants and needs, and I am. What's in your field? I am working towards gathering knowledge to make a video on the shadow self, because I think that's really important to integrate. So look out for those videos. Like and subscribe, you guys. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next video. I love you. Bye.